Welcome to the greatest sports show in the world. Good week, everybody. Hey, we're glad you're here with us. We got a great show today. I just want to say hi to everyone that's joining us here. First, we got Nikki Boston there. Nikki Boston, what's going on, buddy?
What's up?
Hey, not much. And then we got Jess. Will's like my bag. Jess, what's going on?
Hey, Nick, just having a good week over here.
Good. Hey, that's good. Everyone needs to have a good week. And then last but not least, we got Ficus Kev here. That Ficus is just looking vibrant in the background.
I love he's got the Ficus Kev right there too, next to K-Roll, right? I mean, he's never had that before. It's just been K-Roll. Now it's Ficus Kev. I love it.
Hey, and I want to be honest with you. Like, I'm watching this, and that Ficus keeps getting more and more in screen every week.
Yeah. No, it does. It's a very, very healthy plant.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's.
Yeah. Oh, is it real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really impressive.
Hey, we don't have fake ficuses over here. We don't do that stuff.
No. Get your head out of your ass, Jess.
I kill all my indoor plants.
Before we get too far, wow, Kev already getting chirped in the comments. Apparently,
that guy. I don't know who that guy is, but he doesn't. He's very intimidated by my looks.
The guy that's hard already. That's clearly because I'm here. So thank you, Facebook.
I wouldn't say that's clear.
Listen, but when you get two nicks at one time, that could also make someone hard.
So double the pleasure, double the fun.
You got a DP, right, brother?
Yeah, exactly. But before we get too far, before we start talking about taking people to Paris, we got to tell everybody this show is brought to you by HockeyWolf, HockeyWolf.com. Ow, 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 ow. HockeyWolf.com. Beer leaguers just like you and me, trying to make the game more affordable. They're up in the Pacific Northwest, but they can get you gear wherever you are in the world. My boy Trav over there is always taking care of people. So if you need team gear, if you need some new gloves, if you need anything, even lacrosse stuff, they will take care of you. HockeyWolf.com. Ow, 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 ow. All right. So we do have a lot of stuff to get to. We have a great guest, another guest lined up. Apparently, Nikki Boston knows everybody in the world of hockey. So he's got his buddy Trevor Gillies. We're going to bring him on here in about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're going to talk a lot of things. We got a lot of questions from our group that have some questions. Namely, the big one that everyone said, Nick, and you probably know, is the line brawl. There after what did the guy call it, the DiPietro knockout night or something? So he said we want to talk about that for sure.
Of course he does.
And so we'll talk about all that stuff. But first, you go follow us over at the blpa.com and the BLPA on every social media channel. But I want to get into what we've done this week. And one person has done some extremely awesome stuff. Jess was over there at the I don't even know, was it the actual outdoor classic, or do they call it something different this time?
They call it the Stadium Series.
Okay. Series.
It was held over here next to PNC Arena, like right across the parking lot. Like a few spaces over is the Carter Finley Stadium, which is where NC State football plays. It seats 60,000 people. I'm pretty sure they had 60,000 people in there. It was incredible. It was very surreal. I've never been to an outdoor game before. It was very, very well done. A very really cool experience. Lots of drinking, obviously.
And it's one of those things, Jess, right, Nikki? Guys, it's a cool thing, but remember, it just started off as one game. It was the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Right.
Now every city has it. I mean, even Boston. I mean, they did it at Fenway Park this year. They do it every year now at Fenway Park, right? And it's a cool thing and stuff. It's just like you said, Jess. But do you guys ever think like it lost maybe some of its jump there because
I totally agree with you.
It got watered down a little bit. Like it was cool at the Winter
Absolutely.
Classic. Like I thought it was, if they kept it like that one game, right, and it was like a big deal, I think they would do a bigger job with it. But I understand at the same time too, like Jess, you've never been to one before.
Money,
awesome.
Nikki, it's money.
That's all it is, right?
Yeah. I went to the Blackhawks Red Wings game. I went to the Blackhawks Red Wings game at Wrigley years ago, and it was awesome. It was so incredible. It was fucking freezing cold. It was on New Year's Day, but it was just an absolute blast. And it was special, and I think that they've kind of watered it down to the point where it just doesn't have the same, it's not as special anymore. I know it's an amazing atmosphere, Jess. Everyone who goes to these things, it doesn't matter. They love it. They say it's incredible.
Just like my cousin, I think like my cousin Sarah said too, Kev, I think they're trying to gear it like the All-Star game, like where it's more for the kids, right? Like they do a little bit more of a show. They had the dog there, right, Jess? They had the dog there. I saw that. The black
he's our bat dog for the Durham Bulls.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, and it's probably more for the kids. And it's really cool to have an outdoor game. Don't get Kamish, you were talking, last couple of weeks about outdoor hockey and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it just kind of took away a little of the jump. That's all.
Well, I think the Fan Fest was more so geared towards kids because they had a Fan Fest. They closed off downtown Raleigh for the better part of Friday. The major street and that's Fan Fest was definitely for the kids. Same with the Fan Fest that was in the parking lot on Saturday. But the tailgating, it was a good time for adults. Cool. I mean, granted, it's alcohol that makes it a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Never
it was
hurts,
a show.
Right? Always good. Always good idea.
I remember when the Flames played the Habs, when I think they had just brought back the outdoor classic, and the Flames played the Habs at Man Stadium where they do their CFL games. And I just remember I wasn't in Calgary at that time, but I remember watching it. It was like -30 or something. And I was just like, I do not want to go watch a game standing at -30. And so it is kind of cooler. They're doing a little warmer climates, right? And being able to make it work. But yes, I do think the shine is kind of off of them now, but the only cool thing about them is they get cool new jerseys, which I'm a big jersey guy, right? So getting the cool jerseys is pretty sweet. And so I see.
Oh, cool!
Nice jerseys. So did anyone else do anything exciting this week?
No.
Today I was on the missing.
I got in a fight with my family. If that means anything.
Did you win?
No, I never win.
I got in a fight in our seats before the game even started. Boy. Not a fist fight, but a verbal fight.
Alcohol.
Nice.
So I was on.
Started it.
I was on a different podcast. I was on Missing Curfew with Shane O'Brien and Scotty Upshaw. Really cool group of dudes. Like they just want to talk beer league, and I told them some stories. Obviously, we talked about strippers at one point. We talked about baggies of cocaine. We talked about basically everything that goes into beer league, right? All that good stuff, drinking beer, and so it was a good one. So their new episode will be out on Thursday or Friday or so. So check that out. So that's basically what's went on this week, and I'm rushing through this because I want to get to the guests because I want to hear the answers to these questions. So, Nikki, you want to announce them, or you want me to announce them?
Yeah, no, I'll take it. You know what I mean? We've got coming on a buddy of mine. His name's Trevor Gillies. He's a legend. He's got over 50 games in the NHL. But he's been a long time pro at one of the toughest SOBs that you'll ever see. But he's also one of the humblest, nicest guys you'll ever meet as well, too. And this is I like having a guy like Trevor because, he really does epitomize what a warrior and a fighter is. But at the same time, too, he's also one of the best guys in the world, right? You have too many people thinking that, and I wanted to bring him on, especially on with the beer league, because like we talked about before, you get beer leaguers sometimes that think they're going to go out there and they're going to, be this and that. Trevor lived a life, and he is the epitome of what a real tough guy, a hockey player, could play the game, could fight the fight, and everything that you wanted out of a teammate. So I'm really pumped that he's on here. I've loved his career for a long time. He probably doesn't remember I played against him back in the day, but I was just a snot-nosed rookie. Well, he was a legend. So it's really cool to have him on. He's fought some great guys like Yabo. He's fought Biz. And kick the shit out of him too. So that's always fun to talk about. But he's a great guy, and I'm really happy to have him on here.
All right, well let's get him on right here. Here we go. The crowd applause. Eh?
Quite the intro there, Trevor.
Yeah. Hey, Trevor, what's going on, man?
Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate it. We don't really get a whole lot of hockey down here in the South, but happy to be on here with you guys.
Hey, where are you at right now, Trevor?
I live in Evans, Georgia, the nice part of Augusta, Georgia, home of the Masters. My wife's born and raised here.
We were just in Savannah, Georgia, actually playing hockey last weekend.
Nice. They got that new team. What is it called?
The Ghost Pirates.
Ghost Pirates. Yeah.
Yeah. We were actually we do draft experience tournaments all over the world, and we just happened. We were trying to go to Jacksonville. They got a new rink down there, and the guy said, "Hey, we're actually opening up a facility in Savannah. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but I think people would enjoy it." And we had a blast down there. So to say there is not much hockey down there, there was a ton that weekend. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
So first off, again, I just want to say thank you for coming on behalf of everyone on the panel here, but also in our beer league players group. We really appreciate it. Are you still playing hockey right now, or what are you doing?
No, I think I'd have a heart attack if I went out there, to be honest with you. I'm a little heavy. I'm like, I was up to 272. I'm a big hunter and fisher. Huge passion of mine now that I'm done. We don't have a hockey rink here anymore. So the James Brown Arena downtown, which used to be the Civic Center where the Lynx played, the refrigeration, the pipes are all messed up. So we've been trying to get another team back here. There was a vote to tear down the old James Brown Arena and build a state-of-the-art facility so we could get like the top concerts, minor league sports, the top comedian acts, and it got voted down in Richmond County. So we're hoping to get one in Columbia County. We would need a practice facility because that now is a trampoline park. So in order for me to go play hockey, which would help me lose some weight, I'd have to drive like 88 miles to Irmo, which is on the other side of Columbia.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But just looking through, I mean, it looks like you played professional hockey for 18 years, from 99 to 2017, 2018. That's quite a career in there. The first question that I have to ask, and just so you know, we've got a lot of users that like they're in the chat right now saying they miss you in Charleston. Apparently you were a long time Stingray, and so what was your favorite city that you were a part of in terms of in your pro career?
Ooh, that's tough. So yeah, I played 19 years pro. Started out in the East Coast. Loved the East Coast. It's more like I didn't go to college. I played major junior in the OHL. So, it's more of what I would consider my like a college atmosphere. You ask the guys after practice if you want to go have lunch or play golf. At that level, it's not all about dollars and cents and who's getting called up and who's not. It's more of a brotherhood. And, you'll have a ton of guys want to go. So started out there, was kind of an up and down guy. I was a defenseman, and all through junior, all growing up. And then in order to make the transition, I became a fourth line plug, you want to call it, whatever, enforcer, big brother, doing the dirty work so the good guys can win. Luckily I had Tom Rowe, who actually lives in Charleston now, a long-time coach at all levels, and he put a lot of work in with me. And to be honest, I kind of wish I would have listened to Mark Hunter back in the day when I had him in Sarnia and switched to wing. But I was 19th overall pick to the OHL and thought I could make it as a D-man. But the game changed a lot, and I wasn't exactly blessed with the best set of hands. So I used them in another way.
Awesome.
Well, I didn't even answer your question.
Yeah, I was going to say you didn't answer your question.
I've been hit a lot. So my favorite places, I love Charleston. Finished my last 3 years there. Played for an amazing woman, Anita Zucker, huge philanthropist. Charleston's an amazing city. First year there, we made it to the semis. I was trying to win a cup at the end of the ride. Tried to win a ring, Kelly Cup. We made it to the semis. Second year, we made it to the finals. Third year, I had another concussion, had to call it quits just off a routine hit, not from a fight. Fights were going well at that level. So love Charleston. Obviously loved Long Island. Getting to live out my boyhood dream in the best league in the world. That was amazing. I loved Russia. Got treated very, very well in Russia by a family over there. Played in the KHL was cool. We're going to Prague, Czech Republic, Bratislava, Slovakia, Riga, Latvia. There's like 20 countries. It's phenomenal. Loved Finland the next year. I didn't play there that long. Kind of got sent out to take care of a guy. And, we all know that incident. It can be watched. I knew he wouldn't fight me, so they planned it. It was all planned to glove punch Jarkko Ruutu, and I did, and it became a media circus, so it got bought out. But Helsinki, Finland is a beautiful place, tons of architectural cobblestone streets. It's just absolutely beautiful. And they love their hockey there, and the guys are very much North American. They block shots, they work hard, they're animals off the ice. I mean, in the gym, they're savages. They run every day. I mean, I felt like I was on a damn crack scholarship. I was dying. My favorite place in the American League, city-wise, was Portland, Maine. I played on a powerhouse team. The whole team played in the NHL. I'm not going to name drop. You can look it up. Corey Perry, Ryan Getzlaff, they were down with us for a while. It was insane. But that's just such a cool city, Old Port. You got the ocean, the beaches. Really cool spot. But I played in many great places, even cities that people would consider dumps, I love too. Like Lowell, Mass was amazing. Best ice I've ever skated on there. some cool little bars. It was just a great journey, man. And to be honest, I don't talk hockey down here, so like this is super cool. I feel like I'm in a locker room with you four.
Yeah, well, that's the whole premise of the show and the BLPA is that we're just an extension of the dressing room. None of us are good at hockey. Well, I mean, maybe Nick's good at hockey. I don't know. I've never seen him play. But the rest of us not good at hockey, but we're good at drinking beer and having fun, and that's in the locker rooms, right? I do want to circle back though and ask you about Russia, because you always hear so many crazy ass stories about playing in Russia. And you were over there, it looks like 24 games over in Russia. Are things as just fucking crazy over there as people make it out to be?
In terms of what?
Just the whole hockey atmosphere. It just seems like things are just going fucking off the walls all the time.
Yeah, it's a unique experience compared to in America or North America. Some of the Canadian NHL teams. I mean, people get wild when there's a goal or a fight or a huge. Those are pretty much the two times that they're wild. In Europe, it's like flags and drums and singing and chants. It's like a soccer atmosphere, and whether you're losing or not, it's incredible. They do it all game. So it's very much like that over there. They got dancing girls that are not hard on the eyes and putting on a good show for the fans. Just a really unique experience, very different than here. We weren't the best team over there, but my boss liked to have tough guys. So, I got to play with my best buddy that you guys brought up at the beginning intro, Jeremy Yablonsky. I was best man at his wedding. He's one of my groomsmen. And we played together in Peoria and fought a million times, but he brought me over there. I got to live with him. We worked out every day together. So it was just like cool. I got to travel the whole world with my best buddy. It was awesome.
And Gilly, not to interrupt you, buddy, but I just want to say real quick, it goes back to what we excuse me, have brought up earlier in the past couple of weeks is Gilly has actually fought Yabo. And just like he just said there, they've had like battles. 8 times, yeah. And he's been his best man. So, it goes back to what we've talked about before about, it's just part of the game, and it's not a hate or an anger thing. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, but let's stir the pot a little, because we're gonna have Yabo on maybe next week, depending on when he's better. Who is a better fighter? And I hope you say you, just so we can really razz him.
Nah, it ain't like that. I mean, I have a great left hand, and to be honest, Yabo, like if I could pick anyone to be on my side in a war, he would be right beside me. He's a phenomenal human being. Most of the tough guys are. And it's a very humbling job. You take anyone lightly at any time. Whether it's in the minors, you'll be embarrassed in front of your home crowd or the road and looking up at the lights. If it's higher levels, I mean, you're getting embarrassed in front of millions of people. It's happened to me before. So, just a great human, and I'm honored to call him a friend, and I'm glad I made it through all those fights. It's a very tough dude, one of the toughest I've ever fought. He's what people don't know is Jeremy Yablonsky was a 6-time Golden Glove champion, and he also won 2 heavyweight belts in MMA. So I'm glad he's on my team. And if I ever get the call, if it ever gets wild, I got one hell of a teammate by my side. The loyalty is always to the crest on the front, not the name on the back. We take that very seriously.
For sure. All right. Well, obviously, I want to ask you about your time in the NHL, and this kind of leads into it. But the most people. The question that most people brought up when we said, "Hey, we're going to have Trevor Gillies on," what's something you want to hear? And they want to talk about the legendary line brawl with the pins. So they just want you. I guess they just want you to kind of go through it. And
are any of you Pens fans on here?
No, who's a Pens fan?
My girl Jess has got a Hurricane shirt on. I mean, I was last cut there 2 years in a row. I love Raleigh. It's awesome there.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Yeah. So no, obviously we weren't the best team in the league at the Islanders, but Rick DiPietro is pretty much how I got my shot. So I don't talk to Ricky as much, but he's like a brother. I love the guy. And Ricky got sent down. His body was falling apart. He's the hardest working athlete I've ever played with. He's absolutely ripped. He's ripped up like a bad report card. He looks like when you go to the doctor and there's the muscle chart and the bone chart. He looks like the muscle chart. You see every fucking muscle on his whole body. He got sent down for conditioning coming off a hip or knee, I think both. and I was in the gym on a game day, and he was starting, and he came out to me. He goes, "Hey, Gilly." I'm like, "Hey, Ricky, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm working out, but what are you doing?" I said, "I'm working out too, buddy." He goes, "You're playing tonight, right?" I said, "Yeah, man, I'm fine." He goes, "Do you always work out on game day?" And so I fought Paul Beeson that the year before, and he did all those little jersey jabs, kind of hit his head. And, I was winning the fight, but we went off balance, and I smashed my head. Like, we went up in the air, and instead of being on the side and tuck my chin either way, he's taller than me, and I smashed my head against the ice because you take your helmets off like warriors in the NHL because you have the visors. And I was told I should never play again. And I literally told the lady, I said, "Well, I might be crazy, but I can assure you once I get better, I'm going to fight more than ever. I'm going to train more than ever. And I'm going to make the NHL." So, that's why I worked out, because I almost lost my career and I was taking it very seriously. So me and Ricky became good buddies and training partners. And he went and told Garth about me, and that's how I got the call. So, when we play in Pittsburgh, he got dropped in a fair fight, by, I think, Johnson. And that was fine. There's no problem with that. I mean, that happens. Everyone loses fights. But they were laughing about it constantly on SportsCenter, TSN, and all that, making a mockery of us like we were a doormat. We had some in-house closed meetings and decided we weren't going to let that happen anymore. So we got up in the game, and unfortunately for Payne Grady, he was running around like he thought he was Derek Bugard out there. I played against him in the minors, and he didn't say a word, but up there, he thought I was going to be stuck on the bench riding the pine, and I played for Jack for a year and a half in Bridgeport. Kept looking at Cappy and said, "Don't worry, big guy, you're going to get your shot soon." So I went out to the draw. Instead of even looking at the puck, I faced him like Doug the Thug in the Goon or whatever the other guy is with the handlebars. Told him, I said, "You touch the puck or you touch any of my teammates or the puck this shift, and it's on." And he laughed, had a bunch of choice words to say to me, and we went up ice. Didn't get it in over the blue line. That's a no-no. Came back down, and he was going for the puck, and we were way ahead. So that's kind of how it all started. There was a bunch of other hits that happened. So pretty much, we decided we were going to stick up for the brotherhood and the jersey, and pretty much everyone was fighting. Blake Como fought. Bailey fought. You got Jack Hillen fighting. You got everyone fighting. So, everyone kind of remembers that. And obviously, when you do the dirty work, you get dinged a little bit of money, but that's okay. If I wouldn't have done some things that I had to do, because I'm not that guy anymore. When the helmet went on, I was an animal. So, I probably would have been sent down and made a lot less money. So, the keyboard warriors could say what they want, but at the end of the day, I know all the guys in that locker room and the fans, they still love me. So that's really my family and friends. That's all I really care about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I haven't really read any negative stuff about that. I'm sure there's, because everyone's.
Oh man, I don't have Twitter for a reason because I'm too fiery. I'll fire back. Like, you think PCNet fires back? I'll rip someone a new one. I was one of the best chirpers there ever was in this game.
You actually remind me of
positive in, or otherwise I'm not taking it.
Yeah, like Brad Marchand is one of those guys that you're like, well, you shouldn't have Twitter because you're going to get ripped, but he just rips everyone back, and it just seems to work for him.
Very talented. I played against him in the minors. He's a phenomenal player. People can say what they want. He pisses people off, and he fills the net, and he's a superstar. So everyone's a piece. Go ahead.
That's why he's got Stanley Cup rings, and he's got, you know what I mean. You play the type of game that's going to get you where you're at, whether it's fighting, whether it's being a little, rat, whether it's being nasty. You do whatever you want to. You got to do to stay in that league. I don't.
100%. In any league. I knew I wasn't talented enough.
You got to do.
I'm scoring a goal here and there. I could skate. I was a great hitter, and I was a better teammate. I took great pride in being the big brother and helping young guys and protecting the investment in the minors, and got blessed to get the shot, right? Where a lot of guys that might have been better players than me and just as tough never got the shot. So, very grateful for that. And very fortunate to be big guy.
I want to chime in from the peanut gallery, and this is actually a question for Kev. They're describing Trevor's game and Nick's game. They want to know what kind of game you play, Kev.
They don't want to know. Kyle wants to know.
Okay. Kyle wants to know what kind of game you play.
I play my own type of game, Kyle. I was more like my role was always third line penalty kill. That's what I was. I was a pretty good penalty killer. That was really my role. Third line center penalty kill.
That's a good. Hey, everyone's got to have
An
their
important job.
Yeah. I loved it. I honestly loved it. I mean, it was something that I was good at. I was not great at putting the puck in the net. I was a good passer, but
you like to eat biscuits or what?
Do I like to what?
Eat biscuits, like block shots?
I don't know. It was men's league, it was adult league. I mean, I don't know that I would have blocked a whole lot of shots. Inadvertently sometimes.
I try to get out of the way. That motherfucker hurts. So,
yeah. Too many trips to the ER and just pain.
You can't tell, but I got so many scars. It's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So I got this is a 3-part question, and it has to do with helmets. And so they wanted to get your opinion on this, Trevor. They want to know what your thoughts are on the current helmet related rules. The 3 of them are mandatory half shield visors. If you lose a helmet and cannot instantly retrieve it, you have to stop play and go to the bench. And should players be allowed to take off helmets before engaging in fights?
From a guy that's been through a lot of concussions, I don't recommend taking the helmet off at the NHL level if they're one of the guys grandfathered in. I do think it's very unfair that a guy like Matt Martin or some of the guys without visors, are engaging with a guy with a shield on, like he's hiding behind a windshield. So in those cases, I do think they should be able to take the helmet off. It's doing more damage to their hands. I mean, I can't straighten my fingers. Like, that's all I got, So, that's from helmets more than heads. I don't like it. I mean, I like taking my helmet off in the minors. I mean, it separates the men from the boys, right? Everyone can act tough with a cage on. But, you better have some good head movement when someone grabs you in the middle of your jersey. They're only 2-3 inches away from a jersey jab. And if you can connect with the jersey jab, you can land the 2. So, I still train. I still do fight training all the time. I do think it's kind of crazy. I do think it should be a player's choice, but I understand the league, the way it's going. And, I have a friend that lost an eye, not from a fight, and why we wear visors. He's a great man. He's a good friend. He's coaching in the American League. It's not a secret, but I won't say his name on here. So that was tough to see. I was in the lineup, and it's terrible. So you only get 2 eyes, just like you only get 1 brain. So you kind of got to protect it. But I do miss like some of the wild physicality in the game. You'd have to be some kind of caveman to not realize how talented it is now and how fast it is and how great of a product it is. But I do wish there was a little more battle in front of the net. And, if a guy's got his head down because he's been stick handling, doing these drills on YouTube his whole life, and he doesn't have his head up, I feel like you should be able to bury him. But, I'm a fossil. So I'm one of the last of the dinosaurs. Like, get your head up, and then, okay, well, then you got to place your shoulder in the right spot. But if your head's buried like this the whole time, I mean,
what do you expect?
Kind of asking for it.
Wakey. I mean, it's
You actually answered one of the questions I was going to ask, is how do you feel about the NHL like transitioning away from having all of the the enforcer area to more of this the enforcer era to more of this skill only era? Do you think it's part of the game that's missing? Like, as a fan, I think when there's fights on the ice, you maybe get one a game, but they're just not what they used to be. And we all stand up and cheer, but it is a totally different game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, I'm a pro fight guy. I mean, I still watch. I don't watch hockey a lot, but I'm watching the fights. I'm not missing them. I mean, I'm making sure I'm going to some of the fight sites, or I'm watching them on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. I mean, there's been some doozies, though, like this Delorier kid. I mean, Revo. I mean, Luch. I mean, there's still some real tough boys out there. And those are the guys I like. I mean, I like some guys with some sandpaper, I mean, watching women's hockey, I like the girls that are more physical, that aren't afraid to go to the hard areas and go to the net and take a beating to score a goal. Like, it ain't all about fighting. I mean, they've gotten rid of a lot of the warrior mentality. And I truly think that game will, with how good it is now and how talented it is, that it could grow a lot more with a little more physicality.
But Gilly, do you think guys are taking a lot more liberties nowadays? Because I see it too. I'm just saying, I see it too. I think guys out there are not, like you said, having their head up as much. They're taking a lot more liberties than they've ever had before. I just don't. I don't know. I think it's changed in that aspect as well. You know, guys are getting away with a lot more shit than they've ever gotten away before because they don't have to worry about someone like yourself. You know, so I mean, especially with goaltending and things like that.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's like some of the smaller countries, right? I mean, why do you think there's a lot of wars in those countries? Because they don't have a nuclear weapon. They're not a threat. When you have a nuclear weapon that his main job is to create energy and smash bodies and look after the brotherhood and be willing to bare knuckle fight, it's the only sport left that has it. It's an ultimate deterrent. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be that game, but you know, you play a lot of the same teams all the time, and you know, guys remember that. So the people only see the incidents and the suspensions, but there's always a reason for things. You know, it might be a couple games later, but you know, we're gonna get our pound of flesh. Like we're a family. So it's like you guys are here.
Oh, Gilly, like look at this kid right now. This kid in the O, right? He just got another 9-game suspension. He's only 5'9", 150 pounds. And this is a 10-game suspension. This is his 9th time suspended. And if you look at all his suspensions, it's spearing, it's major slash, it's he speared a fan. It's nothing like like a good suspension. You get what I'm saying? And he's doing it time after time again because there's no one to stop him. And that's when I get pissed off, right? There's too many liberties out there nowadays from players that just don't understand it, and their mouths are too big and their attitudes are too big because they don't have to deal with a guy like you or worry about a guy like yourself that's going to have someone else's back that they're doing that to. It just doesn't make sense to me anymore.
I agree. And it's big business. It's big business. So even the guys who are still left that are, considered heavyweights now that would have been light heavyweights back in the day or whatever, middleweights. I mean, they handcuff them from being able to truly enforce or look after the bribes. It's an ultimate deterrent. I mean, if someone came up to you in the street and you felt threatened and they're running their mouth, well, what are you going to do? Like, exactly. You're going to fight or flight? No, I'm going to smash their teeth in, and we'll worry about what the repercussions that come after. But that, then they learn. So just like when you're a kid, right? Like, boy or girl, I mean, there's always bullies, right? Are you going to let that person keep messing with you, whether they're a little guy like this guy sticking people or not? I mean, it's an ultimate deterrent. You want to stop the problem, you better stand up for yourself, or it's going to continue to happen because people prey on the weak.
Exactly.
100%. There's one reason why I don't fight, and that reason is because it hurts to get fucking punched in the face. And so my question to you, Trevor, is who hit you the hardest in your fighting career in hockey?
That's a good question. It's very tough to say because I fought so much. I left home at 15 and, had a ton of penalty minutes and did it the whole way and then all the way through pro. Like I wasn't confused on what was going to get me to the dance. Like, it's not like I was scoring a ton of goals in the OHL. I had 6 goals my last year as a defenseman. So, I'd have to probably, I don't even know if the punch was hard, to be honest with you. I've said this on many other podcasts, but like the only guy that ever knocked me out was Bugard. I mean, it was like you go into your top steakhouse anywhere in America, whether it's Raleigh, New York, and getting the best filet or, tomahawk, ribeye or whatever. I mean, and it's got the garlic butter on there and you don't even really need a knife to cut it. You just push through it. And it's like that perfectly placed shot. Right on the button. I don't even remember it. I couldn't tell you if it was hard or not. But it obviously was because the lights went out. So, but I've been hit a lot by a lot of tough dudes. My nose has been broken 5 times. Luckily I got all my teeth. I bit down on that mouth guard pretty hard, but I got over 400 stitches in my head and face.
Wow.
I mean, there's no easy fights in the heavyweight division in any level. I mean, we're not playing patty cake. Punches aren't vitamins, is what I say.
Did you ever get out there and think and like actually be like, man, I regret my decision right now? Did you ever have any of those moments?
No, never. I mean, you can't have that mentality as a fighter. Jess, you you shouldn't drop your mitts unless you think you're going to win. Because it's one punch could change your world. So, that's why, most of us studied it every day and trained, whether it was boxing or, MMA and, grappling and all the different stuff, because, this is how we feed our families, or get up to the higher levels. I mean, let's be honest, you're not making a whole lot of money in lower levels. So if you want to have a nice house and a good quality of life, well, you gotta really do something, because there's a bunch of other young dudes that are willing to take your, they want to get to making 115 or whatever the deal is in the AHL. That's where you can actually do something with your life. So there's always that young buck coming. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's a bunch of young, hungry lions, and, you have to stay hungry, even if you're the old gray mare or the old lion, right? So, everyone kind of worries about the old gray wolf because he's still around. You don't know what he's going to do. And he's obviously doing something right if they're still around and you're 40 years old. So, but it's not an easy job. It's, not so much the physicality of it. I mean, you don't really feel the punches, to be honest, Nikki. You were talking about it. You feel them the next day, bud, when the adrenaline wears off. But when you're in a fight, I mean, adrenaline's a wild drug. It's too bad they can't bottle it up and sell it. I'd be a frequent customer.
I think it's called cocaine.
I miss that. Wild natural stuff. The natural adrenaline. That's super fun.
Okay, so
like a superhero.
In that vein, and I know, listen, I know we're tough guys. You don't want to admit it, but has there ever been like, hey, I'm going here. I'm going to have to fight this, this Yahoo. Is there, but you just don't want. You're like, I really don't want to play these guys. I don't want to fight this guy. Was there ever a guy where you're just like, nah, I don't want to fight the guy. It's just for whatever reason, it's just not a guy I like fighting.
No, not really. To be honest, since you're putting it that way, when I fought Bugard for the third time, I fought him in the AHL and then fought on my first NHL game and got dropped. May he rest in peace, and condolences to his family and friends. I mean, the guy was an absolute monster animal. The third fight, to be honest, I did fight a more passive. You had to, because I was on home ice. He's already devastated me once. I'm one real bad loss away from never playing again, so I was doing a lot of triangle blocks, and he wasn't hitting me in the head, but he beat the crap out of my body. I can tell you that. So yeah, no, more of a defensive fight. Now looking back, I wish it would have opened up a little more, but at the end of the day, it was more about survival and sticking up for the boys. So, there's certain guys, I mean, you're like, oh, it's going to be a good one. And, you start studying him, you start having a few more sleepless nights, or some sweats in bed. I mean, that's all part of it. I don't really know what anxiety is. I'm assuming because I've had it my whole life, I just didn't know. Right, like, it's just part of the job. I mean, like being a cowboy, you get bucked off, and that's why they wear cages now. Your face gets smashed by the horns, and what are you going to do? You either quit or you hop back on and rope and ride, and that's the very same mentality in hockey fighting is, you got to show up. You got to show up. You got to be ready every shift. And that's what's wild about the job. It's not, you can't, there is spot pickers. There's lots of guys that pick the spots. They only go after the guys they're bigger than, or who they think they can beat. But the true guys, there's so many. There's hundreds. They're killers that play. They'll fight any comers, win or lose, and then be ready maybe 2 or 3 times that game. I mean, that was just the mentality, and unfortunately, I think that's gone.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, then, just to ask that question, do you ever, Nick had said at front, it's not about, it's not about personal. It's about doing your job. It's a brotherhood. But were there people you fought just because you just didn't fucking like them?
Oh yeah. So okay. I fought 6 of my 8 groomsmen, and some many times, and they're all real tough cats. I kind of judge my friends on if something really went down, are they going to be there, right? It's so whether they're a skilled guy or not. Like, does he have enough cojones, intestinal fortitude, whatever you want to call it, to back you up, right? Male or female. Like, I mean, if Jess goes out and she gets suckered or bottled by some other chick, like, are her friends just going to stand there, or are they going to hop in? It don't matter, male or female. Like, it's like, are you a fighter, or you going to fight? You're going to run. So I know I kind of got rambling there. Can you repeat that real quick? I've been hit a lot.
I was asking if there was anyone that you fought just because you just didn't like them.
Oh yeah, there's a few. I don't want to name names, but I got a top 5 list that, I mean, if I see now, I'd be a gentleman, because I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. But if the conversation went sideways at all and they had a problem, I mean, I believe in staying ready even now at 44 years old. So, I'd be down. So I'd sign a contract right now to fight some of them in a cage, because I know they can do it.
So basically,
that was awesome.
So, I mean, we can't get a list, but maybe we can.
There's a couple. Like, I mean, you can go back and watch them. If you ever see somebody like Yabo or me, or certain guys that they hit people when they're down, that's because they did some stupid ass shit to someone else, and that's what you get. They're not honorable. Or you'll ask them straight up off the draw or in a shift, and they wait till you're at the end of a shift, and then they'll grab you when you're dead tired, or they just changed and you've been out there been stuck in your own end, and they grab you at 45 seconds, a minute in. Like, that's uncalled for. So those guys, we're going to hit them until they're done. I mean, until the rest come in. So there's a list. I mean, there's a list, and most guys, they have a list for sure. We're not all friends. It's not, okay, hey buddy, like, that's the problem with the enforcer role, is everyone knew each other, right? And it's a small list, and they started being like, hey, off the draw, hey, want to go so we can be relevant in the game? Like, that's not enforcing. Like, old school enforcing is like these guys you see right here and behind me, Bob Prover, I got Kosher, Stevens, McSorley, all these guys. I mean, you do the wrong thing, and I played in the wrong era, because I still feel that way. If you take out one of my top guys, whether it's John Tavares, Matt Molson, whoever it was that I was playing with, Panarin when I played in Russia, I'm coming. And all the guys that are like me, I mean, they might not be as brutally honest as me, because I'm not in the game. I don't care. I'm not trying to be a coach. I'm doing very well in business, but I'm coming. It might not be that game, but I'm going to get you. And even if they're not a fighter, like, I'll follow through with a hit, with an elbow. Like, I'll get them. We'll get them. And it's not just me. It's going to be collective. Yeah. It's everyone's pushing and pulling, arrive in 5 mentality, like a wolf pack. When there's a scrum, it's not like nowadays you see like this one D-man getting smashed by 3 forwards, and the goalie and the other guys just standing there, and the forwards are nowhere to be seen. It just makes me absolutely sick. Like, I mean, arriving 5, like, what? Like, you want to know that you guys got your back. I mean, that feeling, whether they're 5'6", uber talented, 5'9", the best in the world, you think that guy's going to play a lot better and just have his balls hanging out of his jock if he knows that the rest of the team, whether they're tough guys or not, got his back? It's just, that is missing. And guys would be even more successful if they had that.
Did you ever, and this is from the chat, the watching the live stream right now, did you ever fight in NHL training camp?
Oh, yeah. You got to do that. I mean,
that's how you make the team.
Dragon scoring goals. Yeah, I'm trying to run dudes through the boards, and then have the other team, you're an inter squad, have the other guy try to come challenge me. I mean, because a lot of times, like, when you're a guy on an NHL 2-way or entry level deal, or you're a young guy, whatever, those dudes already got their job. They're on one-ways, right? So you got to do something pretty wild to get them riled up where they're going to come fight. They got more on the line to lose. I mean, it only takes 4 pounds of science. You can look it up. I don't know if you guys got kids or not, but if you're looking the wrong way and your baby that's 2 or 3 years old kicks you with its shin and hits you on the button when you're not expecting it, you're probably going to go. It has to be a perfect shot for 4 pounds of pressure to knock you out, but it's science. It's very hard to land that shot, but it could happen. So, like, one lucky shot, and all of a sudden, well, you're on the radar and you're getting NHL games, right? I mean, most people would cut their balls off to play in one NHL game.
Hell yeah.
Have you ever gotten in a fight with, like, your teammate that's made it awkward in the locker rooms? Or do you have somebody that's on your list that you've ever ended up on the same team? And, like, how do you handle that?
Well, I've fought lots of guys that I became teammates with, and then you immediately just become brothers, because you've already there's a bond that you share when you're doing the most raw form of competition on the planet, which is bare knuckle fighting. So some of those guys, like, they become your best buddies. Like, you know, I used to fight Mike Hoffman all the time. He's from Boston. He's a great guy. You know, he went to what's that school? University of Connecticut.
Yeah.
He's huge. You know, he's huge.
It's funny, Gilly. I've known Ricky DePietro since I was 10 years old. I went to high school with him. Yeah, I talk to Ricky all the time. And Hoff, I've known, again, we played together for the Boston Junior Terriers. I've known Hoff for a long time. And Hoff's a great example of, you know, doing what you got to do to get to the NHL, because growing up, he wasn't like a big prospect. He just wasn't. He was a big kid. He didn't, you know, couldn't, you know, wasn't a great goal scorer, that type of thing. And he was cut from teams and shit like that. But he was big and he was strong, and he made a living doing it. And I love the kid. He's a great guy, and he's always been a great guy. But he's a perfect example of doing what has to be done to get to the NHL and get to the higher leagues. And I give him my hat's always off to him.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. So we fought a ton, and then he got traded to Portland, and we became line mates. It's the best hockey I ever played in my life. I mean, I was getting all my points I got that year were with him on his line, and we're boys. Like I got to hang with him probably about a month and a half ago at our company party. He's not in my industry, but he's helped one of the guys that got me in the industry, one of the Devon brothers. So I'm in credit card processing. We won't get into that, but Mikey's a great guy. I mean, there's so many of them, right? Like, you know, you fought him, Jess, and then you become teammates, and well, now you go from, all right, well, that's one less guy I got to worry about. So, but now forces just got stronger, right? And then you just do the job for the boys, and you got more help instead of doing it by yourself like some teams. So love when you're on a team with a bunch of other tough dudes. It makes the job a lot easier. Cheers to the weight.
For sure. Well, I want to end it with two questions, and then
you can talk to me as long as you want. Obviously, I like to talk, and Nick knows.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I mean, the one I want to know is, what was your favorite fight?
I'm still drinking coffee.
What was your favorite
That's
fight?
because the CBD hasn't hit in yet.
I haven't taken it yet, buddy. Don't worry. As soon as we're off of here, I'll be taking it in my medicine. For sure.
What was your favorite fight in history? And if you could go back and fight anyone in history, who would it be?
Wow.
That's a hell of a anyone in history. Are you talking like that I played against, or who I would have liked to have fought?
Hey, this is your question. Like well, the first question is, what was your favorite fight personally that you ever had? And then the second one was, if there was anyone that in history, who would you want to fight?
Whew. Well, I'd say my favorite fight of mine is tough. I had, I think, 386 or whatever in pro or whatever. Not counting the training camp fights that I had a lot of.
Brag. That's all I got. Fights.
And playoffs, but I'd say probably the most that had the most on the line, to be honest, was not in the NHL. Was in Russia when I fought Johnny Nasty-Mirasti, who's a killer. He has the hardest head I've ever hit. He grew up with Jeremy in Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, and Jer was working with me every day, training with me, and I knew that I was the one that was going to be fighting him, and there was a lot of pressure. Let's just say I was told I must win this fight, and luckily for me, I got that one. I never put John down before, and we fought many times. He's an absolute warrior. I have huge respect for him. But that one was huge, and I got a nice bonus for it too, in cash American money. So that was nice. In terms of who I would like to fight from my career, if I could sign up to fight one more guy, I'm going to give away a little bit of the list here. If I could play, and now I'm a little heavy, I would pick Francis Lassard. I would love to keep fighting him over and over and over. He's very tough, but I would love to keep fighting. In terms of two guys that I would have dreamed of having on my fight card, which I don't know if I would have done well, is the one guy you see in the jersey right there, Bob Probert. He was the GOAT, and he was my idol. Absolute legend. Read his book. He's amazing. And then I never got to meet Bob. I got to play for one of my other idols in Marty McSorley in 03-04 Springfield. Marty was an amazing man, worked with me a lot. I truly owe him a lot. He taught me when to do it, when not to do it. You know, lots of he worked with me a lot. And then the other guy that I got to meet last year when I watched Carolina play against my Islanders was Ty Domi, whose son played for Hurricanes last year. I absolutely love Ty Domi. I grew up close to Toronto. Me and him chat all the time on Facebook. He's an absolute legend, and he's a lefty, and he's got a hard head, and he's a killer. So I don't know how I would have fared against those three guys, but those are my three faves. So that's my answer.
Hey, that's a great answer. Great answer. Hey, would you ever fight a goalie? If goalie was just being a piece of shit, would anyone ever fight a goalie, you think?
Of course.
Okay. I mean, everyone always says goalies are protected, right? But
no. Some goalies can throw them, man. Like I grew up watching this guy when I was young in the OHL. I never met him, but if you look up his scraps, he's an absolute animal. Kluche, Dan Kluche, I think his name was.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit, and I loved him. Didn't really ever play against him, but I grew up watching him when I was young. When I think he was in Guelph with the Storm. And then obviously Ronnie Hextall, he wasn't afraid to chuck him. Loved Ronnie Hextall. Emery, may he rest in peace. That guy was an absolute animal. He loved fighting. He'd fight heavyweights. I mean, he didn't give a shit. Let's just fight against Peters. It's pretty epic. He fought Brian McGrattan in practice. Big Earns, tough as hell. We're buddies. He's a great guy. You should get him on here. He's a riot.
Oh, I'd love to talk.
I'd love to get Gratz.
Gratz is a great dude.
I'd love to get Ern. I talked to Johnny the other day, Nasty, you know, because I love Johnny too. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's an awesome.
Warrior. He's an awesome guy. And I love that he's on Shoresy now and all that kind of shit.
I
love
do
talking
too.
about it. And
stuff. I love it too. I watched all of it.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. I'd love to get Big Ern on. I don't know him as well, you know, Gills, but if you can hook me up with Ern, I'd love to talk to him because I have nothing but respect for him.
I haven't talked to Big Ern in a while, but he's a great dude.
I
you guys like
bring you together. Let's reunite you.
You guys like tough guys. I got a wild list in my phone, Nick. Since you know
well, there's a couple others. You know, I mean, Gil, we'll talk more, but you know, I know, you know, like I said, I know a bunch of, but there's some I don't who I'd love to have, and you know, you obviously have the relationships with them better than I do. I mean, obviously, I know Yabo, I know Johnny, Mikey Segroy, I've known for a long time.
Yeah, that's one of my. I know Scorsese when I was 21, he was 22. We're brothers, man. I love that.
Yeah, I've known Mikey. I played a lot of hockey with Mike down here in Florida, right? And we played, you know, in summer tournaments and shit like beer league stuff.
Yeah.
And we used to. He's gotten in some beer league fights that were pretty funny and stuff. And I've always liked Mike, and we've gone out and had some beers and stuff like that a couple times, and. He's a great guy. So he's going to come on too. Johnny's going to come on.
So I love your logo. You guys got hats and swag and shit or what?
Yeah, we sell. I mean, we sell a ton of merch right now online. If you just go to, I'll send you. I'll get your address from Nick, and I'll send you some shirts and some hats.
Yeah, I'll post for your social media and shit. Yeah, I love it. That's a cool ass logo.
Hey, thanks.
Isn't
Where are you all located? I know it's your show, but where are you guys located? All over?
Yeah, I'm in Calgary. So when you talk about Big Ern, that would be a great get for me because I'm a huge Flames fan.
I love Calgary. It's a great city.
Yeah, it was great until this morning when I woke up and we had 11 inches of snow overnight, and it just kind of, you know, had to spend 45 minutes shoveling out to get in there today.
Don't miss that. We don't get no snow down here, buddy.
Yeah, so Calgary, and then obviously Jess is in Raleigh, and then Kevin's in Chicago.
No snow in Raleigh.
No, I'm in Colorado, just outside Boulder.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were in Colorado.
Boulder. You a snowboarder?
Skier, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I want to go out there.
It's awesome, man. It's a great place to live. I lived in Chicago most of my life, but this is a nice change.
You got some great medicine stores too for the brand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huge fan. Anyone who's had concussions, you don't listen to the doctor and take pills. Go to one of those stores.
All right, before we let you get out of here, let's talk about what you're doing now. I know you did us a great favor coming on. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the text message just so we can get it. It's Card Connect Partners, cardconnectpartners.com. So I want to talk a little bit about that so we can give you a little plug and maybe send some stuff your way if we can.
Yeah, definitely don't go to the website because I won't be your guy and you won't be able to deal with me and my team by our cell phones. But no, Merchant Pro Express is where it was. It's actually headquarters was in Long Island. So I work with a team of ex-athletes, some ex-hockey players, the Devon brothers, Molly Devon, the sister, a bunch of ex-basketball players, and we guarantee savings or we'll give them $1,000. It's not a sales line, it's a fact. It's an industry that drastically overcharges, and pretty much whether it's a virtual terminal, e-commerce, terminals, whatever solution they need, mobile payments, we guarantee savings on all their rates through credit card processing. Also can do the new dual pricing, which was cash discounting, where they pass the fee on to the client for smaller businesses, smaller average ticket. So now I do it every day. Absolutely love helping people. And so it's my new platform by the big guy to truly be able to provide value and help people. I'm a big relationship guy. So, they're not calling another country, nothing wrong with that. But, if something needs to be done, we get right on it and get it fixed. And, I like it. I get to be home with my family. My daughter is growing like a weed, 5'10" volleyball player, 15 years old. And my son's in fifth year of college, 22-year-old. So he changed my life. I was wild as hell when I came around. He's my stepson. And I have a great wife, and we got a great little life here in the South. If you like golf, fishing, hunting, and beaches and lakes and pretty people to look at, just knows it's a great spot down south.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you said people don't go to the websites, they can't deal with you. Can we give out your email address so people can contact you directly?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to add me on social media, it's at Gillies14 on Instagram. I do comment, and it's actually me. I talk to my fans. You can gladly give them my email. It's P Gillies, Gillies, the @ Card Connect Partners with an S.com. Hopefully it's legitimate stuff. Cause if you roast me in my email, I'm coming back hard with the left hand.
You'll be the first email I send in the morning.
Yeah. And, the Card Connect does a really good job of blocking a lot of anything unwanted. So, I'll have to go check the other folder if they're not in my thing. But that's no problem. Yeah, no, I love it. And so, I help all size businesses, whether they're, micro merchants doing, 20 to 50,000 a month, all the way up to some doing millions and millions a month with them. So, I like it. And, I get to be home instead of, coaching would have been nice, but Mrs. Gills is what we call her, because I played so long. I was playing with 19, 20, 21-year-olds when I was like right at 40. So he didn't really like Mrs. Gills, and I loved it, so it stuck. So she was a trooper for 19 years. So kind of promised her that when it was over, it was over. So I truly missed the game. I'm going to watch with one of my doctor clients. He's owns a foot and ankle group. Great guy. We're gonna have some beers and stuff like that, and go watch Friday night at his place. He's got a 100-inch TV. We're gonna watch the Isles versus the Kings. So it'll be cool.
Awesome.
I don't even have the hockey package because my wife steals the big TV.
We gotta have a little
yeah, we gotta change that. I gotta get one in here soon.
Yeah. So, I want to thank you again for coming on with us. I know gets late on the East Coast there when I'm in Mountain Time Zone, but just want to say thank you for coming on and telling us stories. And you're welcome anytime. Anytime you want to come on and talk hockey, just get with Nick, and I'll send you I'll send you some swag, and you can take photos of yourself and send
Dude,
it to
I would
us.
love that. I'll rock it proudly. Thank you guys very much for having me. And another thing I wanted to bring up is if there's any ex-pros that played at any level, Nick knows we've created a group. I'm tired of losing guys, from different types of deaths. We call it the locker room, but it's the Professional Hockey Players Assistance Program, and it's fantastic. And we do a call twice a month. Pretty much every other Wednesday.
Yeah, it's first and third Wednesdays
and,
of every month.
It's great. And it's one thing you have as an athlete, male or female, is when you're done, whether you went to college or not, if you built the right relationships, is you have a great. So we're able to truly provide value and help other guys, whether it's find them jobs or get them connected with the right people to help them with some old injuries or concussions and just support system where we can have because that's what we miss when we're done in the game, right? We miss the boy time, or Jess, you going out with your girls and having a bunch of wine, and whatever. You miss that camaraderie, more so than the bag skates and the politics and some of that. But you definitely miss the nice dinners with the Rouge and the card games and the boys. So it's a cool thing we're doing. So if anyone's played any games at any level of pro, you'll be able to join us and reach out to me on social media as well, Facebook or Instagram, and we'll get you added, and you can come on if you were able to play, if you played any pro games.
For sure. Yeah, definitely a great cause. And like you said, I know that I'm not a pro hockey player, but I've talked to a few buddies that were, and they say the same thing, tired of losing people for whatever reason. So to have a support group is great. So if you are ex-pro at any level, just get in touch with Coach Nick here, Nicky Boston, and he'll get you lined up. But again, thank you very much, Trev, for coming on.
Thanks, Gilly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Trevor.
You guys were great. And
Gilly, I'll talk to you later, bud. Thank you.
all right, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Thank
All right,
you.
later.
You too, bud.
Bye.
What a guy. What a
Yeah.
guy.
He's awesome. He's super
told
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you like hearing all the stories about the fights and stuff. Maybe next time we'll get him to reveal a little bit of more of that list. And
I didn't know the guy he was talking about. Did you guys know the guy he was talking about?
Yeah, Alessandro, he's an ass. The kid's
Okay.
an ass.
I figured. I mean, that seemed like the.
Jeez, tell us what you really feel.
And Gilly, see, that's what I'm saying. Like Gilly's the kind of guy that won't say that kind of shit, right? And for him to even say, like, the little thing he did, it was, I could see it in Gilly's face, like he didn't want to, right? It's just the way Gilly is. But I can say it. The kid's an ass. And Gilly, and I understand why Gilly wants to, would throttle him every time he played him, right? Because he's the epitome of what, when Gilly talks about that one asshole on the ice that just runs around and has no respect, he'll fight you at the end of your shift, because that's the worst thing as a fighter. There's nothing worse than being at the end of your shift, 45 seconds, you're out there 50, and you get a guy that just got on the ice and now he wants to, throw with you. It's the worst. Sometimes it has to happen. Don't get me wrong, because it's part of the game. But when a guy's just doing it to make a reputation, it's unprofessional, and it's not something that should ever be done. And a guy like Gilly would still do it, but it's not the right thing to do. And he's the kind of guy that'll do it every fucking game. He'll find a guy. He'll wait to the end of the shift, jump on the ice, and try to fight a guy like Gilly to make a name for himself. He's just an ass.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't have to deal with that much
too.
in beer. I mean, I deal with a lot of asses in beer league for sure, but we don't do much fighting. But I love hearing the stories about the fights, and that's why I like all these people that Nick's bringing. He's like, "You want me to bring on this guy?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, hell yeah!"
Coming.
We have some fight stories, right? We didn't get to
Yeah, I
ask
live
about the puck
vicariously
bunnies.
through it.
Yeah, we didn't get to
love
ask about the puck bunnies, but I know people have wives, and maybe that stuff isn't on the up and up.
Yeah,
the same
and
way-
and Nikki, can I just say something? And Mrs. Gill is just as tough as Trevor is, so don't ask fuck any questions.
Good.
Trevor,
I know some stuff is. I mean, I'm pretty free and liberal with what I say. I kind of just say what comes to my mind. Actually, as we were here, I just got a message from the missing curfew boys, and they basically were like, "Oh, we loved it. It was hilarious. Even the cocaine stuff was hilarious, but we had to cut it because we didn't want any funny stuff with our sponsors." And I'm like, sponsors run fucking everything. So I'm supposed to ask Nick about playing in Louisiana, but I think, Nick, what we're going to do is we're going to hold that off. We're already over an hour, so we don't want to run too deep.
yeah.
And I got stuff that
We'll
I
get to that. Whoever you are, that's we'll get to that. I told a
Nick,
little bit about Bugard, but we'll get to that next week or something like that.
We'll get to that next week, and we'll get to the videos next week. And I'm sorry we Ficus Kev, we didn't get to your NHL segment.
Whatever. Go online. All that shit's there.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I know where it's going to lead, and it was basically going to lead to Bedard's going to Arizona. So I mean, that's where it goes every week. So
actually, no, Arizona's winning some games, bud. Arizona's winning some games.
That's just to throw you off the scent, because Bettman has heard.
There's a conspiracy out in Arizona. Yeah. We won't go there. I do have one thing before we close.
Okay,
I have one thing. Nick, I heard you're like aging. pretty gracefully. Not really, but your hair is all falling out. And you turn what, 60 tomorrow, 70 tomorrow?
Hey, listen, I'm a man. I'm 41 tomorrow. Thank
it's
you
your
very much.
birthday tomorrow?
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Wow. So you're finally going to hit puberty tomorrow, bud?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if my balls are going to drop, but maybe in the next 10 years.
We'll ship you some BLPA adult diapers.
Perfect.
Right
Hey, listen, hey, the amount of times I've almost shit myself like last week on this podcast, I mean, I'd wear them, right? So,
oh yeah.
So anyway, guys, hey, thank you guys for joining us. I know a lot of people stuck around. Very great stories from Trevor. Glad to have him. Like he said, go find him on Instagram or Facebook. He'll write back. It's him. He answers everyone that talks to him. And if you need any credit card processing, you hit Trevor up as well. Anything to add before we go here, guys?
Nope. Everybody have a good week.
Real quick, just want to reiterate, just real quick, guys. Just want to reiterate with Gilly said every first and third Wednesday of the month, a bunch of us pros, we get together and like we talked about, we're sick and tired of losing guys to, suicide, drug overdose, and any other lot of things because it's happening too much myself personally, I deal with, epilepsy and stuff and being hit in the head too much and stuff. So it's a big issue. If there are any pro guys out there who need some help and just need a group of guys to talk to, just let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram. Reach to me at gamma44@gmail.com. And I'll get you guys in that group because it's a really great group. Trevor's part of it, a lot of other pros, but we're tired of losing guys. So if anyone needs the help, just reach out to me, okay?
Awesome. All right, sounds good. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Follow us at the BLPA VIP box if you want a VIP box. We got the nice little QR code bouncing up on the screen every so often. But other than that, guys, be good.